Hey everyone, I'm Mike and I'm an alcoholic.
Mike.
I have been through the process of the steps as laid out in the Big Book with the Big Book Step Study sponsor. Meetings like this, people like you. I have made a good part of my amends. Still have a few to go. And I work the steps every day to absolute perfection, and I am a spiritual giant as long as things are going my way. Yeah, that's definitely something I need to work on. Wow, 2 paragraphs that actually they do carry a lot. To start, I'd just like to say how I basically got here. I entered AA 1996. I bought a restaurant when I was 21 in Western Mass, and I had that for like 25 years. And I was drinking a lot, and it came to a point where it really hurt my health really, really bad. Ended up, hospitalized and all that. And when I kind of came to, I was fearful for my life, so I stopped drinking. And I thought AA was a program to stop drinking, period. So I didn't need AA because I wasn't drinking. So for the next 11, I was a dry drunk for 11 years, and I was full of discontent and worry and just everything that you read about, everything I read about in the Big Book. That was me. I just thought I was wired that way, and there was no, peace and serenity in my life. There's no way. So I relapsed, and I had no idea why. And in the book, it tells me my relapse was probably was due to lack or I failed to maintain a spiritual connection. And in my case, have a spiritual connection. I mean, I went to Catholic school 9 years. So, I had a God in my life. He looked like Jerry Garcia. He carried a lightning bolt. And if you swore, he would, I saw pictures of him, so he's real, But he would strike you down on any bad thing. And that's, from when I was in kindergarten to 8th grade. That's what I was, I was taught in school. And they taught it in school. It had to be true. And so anyways, I remember the first time I saw the steps was the first time I was in rehab. And I went through the steps, and I finished them all in about 15 minutes in rehab, all by myself.
All by myself?
Yeah, I don't recommend that. But I looked at every one. It's like, believe in a God. Yep, got it. Admitted I'm powerless. Okay, check, And actually, I literally started making phone calls from rehab, making amends. And they're like, what are you talking about? Oh, it was a horror show. But anyways, I ended up, in and out. And finally, I was so sick and tired of being sick and tired that in 2013, I just gave up, threw my hands up, got into a lot of financial problems with my restaurant due to my disease. And I actually ended up in AdCare in Worcester. And, went to many AA meetings around here. And after AdCare, I went to a sober house on Burncoat Street in Worcester, where I remember sitting on my bed, and I was 46 at the time, thinking, how did I get here? I'm at my bed, and I'm like, I need my family back. I need my friends back. I need a 40-hour-a-week job. I need a place of my own, and I need it now. And thank God it didn't come to me quick, because I would have definitely lost it, because I had no clue what to do. But as part of this, and I always try to say this when I speak at a Big Book Step Study meeting, my experience with these meetings is I could not stand them. I hated them. I had to go. It was a stipulation of the sober house, so I had to go to these meetings. And I would, play the games on my cell phone. I would, do anything but listen. And I came enough where it got me. And And I think that started out, I had to, have a big book step study sponsor. Again, a stipulation of the house. And I saw the guy with a Red Sox hat on. I'm like, well, at least we have something to talk about, And that guy, today I still consider my sponsor, and he's a great guy, and he helped me so much. But after I started doing this work, I couldn't get enough of these meetings. So if you're sitting in that seat today, and you're thinking the same thing, like you're at a meeting where you can't speak until you've been through this process, how dare you? I had a lot of cool things to say back then, and a lot of wisdom to throw your way, and I can't speak, but it all turned so much for me, and that's my experience. So if you're, there kind of rolling your eyes or anything, please give it a chance. It was a life changer for me. But anyways, I left the sober house, and I've been through the process. I never left Worcester. I got a job, and I'm going to say this, a lot of it is because of this program that I am outstanding at my job. I really am. I work for Charter or Spectrum TV, and I work at the call center. So when something goes wrong with your TV and you call that 800 number, this guy takes your call. All right, and the thing is, this program helped me to look at situations and look at other people a different way, from a different angle. My sponsor told me that if you're on the highway and a guy's driving in and out left and right and speeding and driving like a real jerk, you don't know what his side is. Maybe he just got to call his family's in a hospital, got in a car accident or whatever. Maybe the guy's just a jerk, and a real moron driver. It's none of your business. You know what I mean? It's, so it helps me look at the other side of the coin for me. People call up and completely freaking out because their cable box isn't working and they have 7 in the house and 1 TV's out. And this woman's almost in tears, and I'm still going with it, and she's just like, I can get a tech out there tomorrow to fix it. Nothing today. Oh my God. And I'm just thinking, what the hell, lady? Then she comes out with, I just don't need this. I just buried my husband 2 days ago, and da. So it had nothing to do with her TV. You know what I mean? It had nothing to do with her TV at all. And that's just a real eye opener for me. But then again, I got a call from a woman in Tennessee. She wants a new cable box because her cable box has too many commercials in it. So, there is both sides there where, there's both sides there where it's okay, lady, here we go. But anyways, just to know where other people are coming from is a big thing for me, and including myself. Right before I got to this meeting, I went to the convenience store. I got a drink, got my scratch ticket, I got a donut, and I got my wallet, my phone, all in my right hand. And I went to get my keys, and my keys were in my right pocket. But I'm I hit the hood, and I'm Jesus Christ, oh my God. And it's dude, swap the hands, get your keys, and let's go. What the hell? And come to find out, I'm nervous as hell speaking at this meeting. That's what it really bore down to, But it's oh my God, man, get with it. But anyways, back to the steps. These steps are amazing, and these 2 paragraphs too have a lot in them. I'm not going to lie. When this reading first started here in the corner, and I heard her reading about steps 8 and 9, I'm cool. I hope they just let it go, because I want to talk about 8 and 9. I don't want to talk about 6 and 7, but you guys pointed it out right away. But anyways, it's good to see people here too, because I used to go to this meeting quite a bit until my work schedule. I haven't been at this meeting in a long time, and it's my understanding you guys still had this meeting despite me not being here. So I don't know who to talk to about that, but anyways, I remember honestly doing this step, and I was so far into the process at this point where I wanted to get everything right. I wanted to get absolutely everything right, where I'll back up a little at the end of like step 5. I did my step 5 at, help me, Glendale Park? Off
Green
of
Hill Park?
Green Hill Park. Yeah, beautiful up there. And it was like kind of like April or Mayish. And so like, it was like one of those days where it was like 60 out, so it was beautiful. Clouds started coming in. And we were outside and I was doing my fifth and, you know, going on and on and on. And it started like raining, so we had to like get up and go underneath the pavilion. And it sounds so corny and so cliche, but it's my experience. When I got up to go to that pavilion, I felt lighter. I felt like so much was off my shoulder. And that continued, you know, under the pavilion and when I finished it. So I'm like, okay, dude, you're doing good. You're all right. You're doing it right, I think. So, you know, 2 words for me that lacked my other steps. And I'll say this, in my experience, there might be a person in this universe that can look at the steps, do like step 9 without a sponsor and find eternal happiness. I don't know. I just know for me, I need all 12 steps put in order through the system of the Big Book Step Study. That's me. That's the only, you know, that's all I can speak for. I don't know about anyone else. But, you know, in doing this, I was like, okay, what's next? What's next? What's next? He's like, read the book, read the book. So I went home and it says, we sit for an hour. I set a timer. And I remember just sitting in my room, you know, okay, all right. And I mean, I'm not even trying to be funny here, but after that hour, I was hungry. And it didn't say anything about getting anything to eat. So I called my sponsor. I'm like, you think it'd be all right if I have like Ritz crackers? I'm not even kidding. And he's like, I think it'd be all right. Yeah. Nowhere in the book does it say we got to starve ourselves. So I'm like, all right, cool. Because I was just so like focused. And the way I treated the steps before this process was like I treated them like a video game. Once I did a level, once I did a step, then I'm done with it. You know, I always thought eventually I'd get to the end and I'd be done with it, period. Big Book Step Study, and I heard it actually from this room, from a gentleman in this room, and I love it. He says, Big Book Step Study never lets you off the hook. Big Book Step Study goes from the end of 12 right to 1 again, and always keeps me, you know, going with the steps, and I'm so grateful for that. Because I just wanted to coast. I just wanted to like, you know, find this internal happiness and just coast, and that doesn't happen for me. And I've heard again in this room, the only way to coast is downhill. You know, so it's a lot of learning, and it still goes on. And another thing too is like with step 6 and 7, it's like I wanted to get it done so I can go to the next step. And I'm still not done with it today, as long as any of the steps. You know, I try to practice these steps, you know, every day to the best of my ability. I try to just to be the best Michael I can be. And that's all I can be. You know, at first I thought it was like, you know, I need to raise $1 million for charity or save a baby from a burning building or whatever. Now, for me, it just means like hold the door for someone or smile or say, you know, say hi to someone. The first year after my job, I had a year-end review, and my supervisor wrote in my review, he wrote, I've never seen Michael come in a bad mood. I'm like, Michael who? You know? And he's like, you know, he goes, honestly, he goes, I'm not saying you're not in a bad mood, but you just don't show it. You know, so that's, you know, good, because I'm always looking for the pat on the back. I'm not going to lie. You know, and I'm like, oh, what else to say? You know, I also say you come in late for your lunch, and I'm like, that's enough, you know. But when I do, I try to say this prayer in my version. 3 of the best words, God help me. You know what I mean? When I'm in a situation, when I know that my defects are coming up, my defects are glaring, which they do. Love it in this book when it says, not if these things crop up, when they crop up. They will crop up for me, and they do crop up for me. But now I have the awareness when I'm working the program, to go through with it. And I'm just like so grateful. A little bit back to step 5, it was just such a big eye opener for me, especially fear. How much it ruled my life, and how much outer things ruled my life. And my sponsor told me, if your happiness is contingent on any other people, places, or things, he says, you're screwed. You're totally screwed. It's got to come from within. And I know that today, and it helps. And when I did enter 6 and 7, I was so ready, and it's so cool because, like, at that point, like I mentioned before, I was ready. At first, in my mind, I'm like, I can't wait to get these this 6 and 7, or at that point 6, just over with and done. And then almost the second thought in my head was, dude, you're not done. And that was a miracle for a guy like me, approaching these steps. Now, like my character defects, I entered this process along with other processes, not thinking I had no character defects. I am the nicest guy. I'll do anything for you. But I found out for me, people pleasing is a character defect. I'll say, if there's a room of 100 people, I will make fun of one person to get a laugh out of 99 people. And that's pretty good odds. Because I put one guy down, I made 99 people laugh, so that's pretty good. I know today it's not. It's not for me to, make fun of anyone or put down anyone just to build up myself. Today, with this, with these shortcomings that I have, sometimes I need to go back. I do go back to my writings and kind of, oh yeah, a couple of those come up, like different situations where things happen to me, and reactions from people aren't what they should have been. I'm the kind of guy that, and I still do that today. I will, like, after a blizzard and you're at work, I'll shovel. And I have the day off. I'll shovel your whole driveway, right? You'll say thank you, and I'll be mad because you didn't say thank you good enough. I want a parade. I want, the whole 9 yards. But to make me aware of my shortcomings and humbly ask them to be taken away from me. And it's funny because at first, they cropped up just like the book promised. And I'm just like, hey, yo, God, do you hear me or what? I asked you to remove these things, but I need to, faith without actions is dead. Is that right? Faith without works is dead. Thank you. So I need to practice on this, and I need to really, really take a look at myself and my shortcomings and get rid of them, And when they do crop up, recognize them. And I'm so grateful I could do that today. My family still lives in Western Mass. And it's about an hour away, hour and a half away. Excuse me. So every Sunday, I'd go see my mom. This is in sobriety. After doing the process, I'd see my mom, and she needs some stuff done. And I'd go there, and I'd be like, Ma, give me a list. What do you need done? She goes, I need to go to, like, CVS, the grocery store, da-da-da-da-da. Give me the list, and I'd get in my car. I'd do everything, come home, put it away. Now what? She goes, well, no, nothing, I guess. You're good. Like, all right, later. And I'd take off, see my friends, see my sister, and who still lives in the area, and so on and so forth. Thinking I'm like son of the year, which is nice. And what I did was a nice thing. But after, telling people about this, of course, kind of bragging, someone in AA told me, well, I think that's kind of secondary. Wouldn't it be cool just to hang out with your mom? And that really hit me hard. And I ended up, it was during Patriot season. I'm like, you want to watch the Patriots game? She goes, well, where do you want to go? I'm like, no, just me and you in your place. She's like, sure. I mean, we watched that game. Every now and then, she has a hard time walking. She's 83. And, hey, can I have a glass of water? Can I have a ginger ale? Like, sure. What do you want to eat? I'll take a ride and get it, come back, whatever. And, like, during that game, I think she slept for, like, 3/4 of it. But it was probably the greatest Sunday going. Even though I didn't do anything, I was just there. And that was a huge eye-opener for me, just to be there. My sister had a birthday party for my nephew. I think it was his 6th birthday party at the time. And she's just this big, like, oh, my God, I'm overwhelmed, whatever. So I'm like, I'll tell you what can I do? She's like, nothing. So I just went to the house, and I was just there. And I wasn't constantly like, now what? Now what? Now what do you need? Now what? I played with my nephew, got him kind of out of the way. She's like, shoot, I need ice. I'm like, want me to take a ride? She goes, you mind watching Wyatt? That's my nephew, while I go? Sure. The fact that she trusts me today with her son is a miracle. But I was just, again, just there, and that's just because of this program. All right, well, one last thing I just need to really share. I'd like to share with you guys the worst day of my life. The worst day of my life, I got a speeding ticket. All right, because I was coming from my parents' house, and it was on the Mass Pike, and it was a fairly new car, which I wasn't used to. So it was the car's fault. It was the state trooper's fault. The sun was at that perfect, level where it was the sun's fault. It was basically everyone's fault but the guy pressing on the gas pedal going 94 in a 65-mile-an-hour zone. So, of course, I get the ticket, and I'm like, I will show them. I'm going to contest this ticket, right? So I did, and 3 months later, I come up with a date, and it was in Palmer, Mass., which is the perfect halfway point to my parents' house. And I would always go every Monday to see my mom and dad. And at this time, my dad had leg issues, so he was in orthopedic rehab, like a nursing home orthopedic rehab. And I went to Palmer, and I got the ticket waived. It was all set. And I'm like, sweet. And I was so psyched. It was a Thursday. And I had the day off anyway. So I went home to, share this good news with my mom and dad. And my mom was actually just getting in her car. She goes, hey, I'm going to the nursing home to see Dad. You want to go? I'm like, sure. So I get there. Dad's like, hey, what are you doing here? And I shared the whole story. And he's like, oh, sweet. Spent the whole afternoon with him and everything and blah, blah, blah. And time to say goodbye. I'm like, well, I'll see you Monday. He's like, great. So that day, my mom had a thing in Amherst to go to, so she was gone. And my sister asked me to come over to eat. And that's just a blessing in itself that she wanted, again, anything to do with me. So I went over there and I had this awesome dinner with my sister. And during this dinner, we get a call from the nursing home that my dad got taken to the hospital. And in this process, my dad has kind of like been to the hospital like at least once every other week. You know what I mean? Sometimes the guy forgets to breathe. I don't know. It's just like, I go, my sister, Marianne, I'm like, Marianne, I'll tell you what, I'll go. If it's anything serious, I'll call you. She's like, okay. And the fact that she trusts me to do that was another miracle, right? Long story longer, I went to the hospital. That night, my dad died of a massive heart attack, all right? And the worst, because of the quote-unquote worst day of my life, I would have never contested that ticket, would have never spent that last day with my father, And it goes beyond that because during the wake and the funeral, it wasn't all about me. I was able to be there for other people, my family especially, but other people, like friends that my dad have known for 20, 30 years. I look at them and say, I am sorry for your loss, And because of all of that, because of this process for me, I was able to be there for my family, for other people, and I actually, I gave the, thank you. God, I need you. The eulogy. And I stood up there with all seriousness, and the great Dr. Seuss said, don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. I'm like, yeah, and that's, don't get me wrong, it sucked. burying my dad. It hurt, you know, but it's life on life's terms, and I'm so much better at it today because of this process. So thank you guys so much for letting me share.